Hello Internet, and welcome to Financial Journey, a channel dedicated to personal finance, wealth building, and investing. I have been an avid spreadsheet user for the past several years, tracking the ins and outs of my personal finances, and I finally found the nerve to come here to expose my financial missteps as well as successes and document my journey towards financial independence. You may well wonder why I would start such an undertaking. But the answer is quite simple. In my opinion, the education system simply does not prepare people for the real world, at least in the case of personal finance and planning for the future, managing debt, and all of the things that come about once you step into the workforce. While I am not a financial advisor, I am hoping to provide my viewers some glimpses into the financial education I never received growing up. It is my goal that this channel will keep me motivated towards my own financial goals, as well as help my viewers learn some new ideas about their own finances while avoiding the mistakes I've made along the way. So, who exactly am I? Well, my name is Alex, and I make up one half of a family who has been happily married for what's coming up on 4 years. My wife and I are millennials in our mid-30s. I work a stable job at a Fortune 500 company, while my wife owns her own small business and works it out of our home. Today, our finances are more or less predictable, and we're well on our way to meeting our financial goals. However, that's certainly not always been the case. Let's kick things off here by taking a bit of a trip down memory lane. My background's not particularly unique. I come from a middle-class US household. My parents gave me a very comfortable life growing up. Although that meant we had plenty of money to cover the bills, so I never really had to think much about money. I never made a lot of money, never spent a lot of money, but I also really never learned much about personal finance, saving and investing, let alone something as long-term as planning for retirement. Now, it is certainly not the only path that one might take, and that's particularly true nowadays. But I essentially took the normal career path. I worked hard in high school, went to a good college, and graduated with student loan debt like so many people these days. And for me, I finished my college in 2008, right as the economy imploded. So my career path took me additionally through graduate school. I certainly didn't expect it when I enrolled, but this ended up turning into an 8-year ordeal, with new departments, extra classes, and a move to colder weather. Looking back, my experience was essentially one of the horror stories that they tell new students entering graduate school. Thankfully though, in this instance it had a happy ending, and I did graduate, albeit 8 years after starting my post-college education. Now, after obtaining my PhD, I joined the workforce as a postdoctoral research scientist. These roles are still considered training and pay far less than my degree warranted. I'll give a full accounting of my salaries, financial pitfalls, and limited savings throughout all of this in a future video. But suffice to say, although we weren't wondering how we were going to pay the bills, my then girlfriend and I were basically living paycheck to paycheck. We were not big partiers, out clubbing every night and ordering bottle service or making it rain or anything crazy. But what money we did have coming in was being spent, mostly just for our basic needs: housing, gas, utilities, and food. And what little we did save, we were essentially just shoving into a basic savings account, making virtually nothing in interest. Suddenly, after I'd been a postdoc a bit over a year, I had a massive curveball thrown my way where I lost my job. Now, nothing dramatic happened, I wasn't fired or anything, but the lab that I was working for simply was unable to secure grant funding. As I still wanted a paycheck, I suddenly found myself 30 years old, newly married, and unemployed. Oh, and still in debt. This was our rock bottom. My wife, although highly educated in her own right, was having difficulty finding steady work at the time in her field, and had been delivering pizzas to help us make ends meet. Even then, it wasn't enough. At the time We relied on the SNAP program for food, our state's Medicaid for insurance, and something needed to change. Now, I absolutely never would have expected it at the time, but losing my job ended up being the best possible thing that could have happened to me. It made me completely reevaluate my entire career plan. And in my haste to find a new job as quickly as possible, I found myself evaluating alternative positions that I could do with my degree. In the end, I was very, very fortunate, as I was able to leverage my education and scientific background to relatively quickly find a new job, this time in the private sector. As industry pays significantly better than academia, I suddenly found myself making a six-figure salary, nearly 3 times what I was making as a postdoc. And for the first time, had substantially more money than I actually needed to cover my basic expenses. Having gone through this tumultuous time of unemployment and uncertainty, I really didn't want to go out and just blow all this money, buying whatever I thought I needed, or even various things I just wanted. Although, admittedly, we did purchase a few new toys, including a new car, which we will definitely be returning to in a future video. But I really decided it was time for me to get things together and plan for my and my family's future. Of course, one of the caveats of studying science for the past 13 years was I had little time for additional electives, and I had never taken a finance or economics course. Neither were part of the required curriculum. And I honestly didn't even know where to begin to save and invest my money. What I did learn, and one of the most important aspects of my 12 years of post-high school education, was actually how to learn. So that's exactly what I did. I dove head first and just went deep on every single thing I could think of. Scouring the internet, watching videos, listening to podcasts, reading books, attending seminars, everything I could find to give myself a basic grounding in personal finance. And that really brings me back to today. We have spent the last few years putting into practice the strategies that I've learned, and I want to bring that accumulated knowledge to you. Now, I don't claim to have a secret strategy guaranteed to make you millions overnight, but the basic tenets of personal finance are powerful tools that everyone can leverage to secure their future. At the core of this channel, I intend to document my own financial journey with monthly net worth updates, investment tracking, and regular analysis of our monthly spending, the good and the not so financially prudent. But beyond that, I'm looking forward to putting out a ton of videos across a wide variety of topics, including the basics of investing, compound interest and the stock market, planning for retirement, and how to utilize tax-advantaged accounts to maximize your gains and minimize your tax burden, how to manage debt and what it looks like to be financially independent, credit scores, credit cards, student loans, home ownership, and mortgages, just to name a few. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the end. If these topics sound like something that would be beneficial to you or someone you know, please click on that like button down below, share with a friend, and consider becoming a subscriber. Let me know in the comments below what topics you would like to learn more about, and check back soon. I'll see you in the next video.